Okay. Hi, guys. How are you? Happy Thursday. Just loading. Let's see if I'm on with Facebook now. Yep, I think so. Hey, guys. So it's Thursday and it's time to chat, hang out. So I always enjoy our Thursdays together whenever I can come on. I love that. I love hanging out. And so here we are again. And today we're going to talk about mediumship a little bit. So I thought it would be kind of fun to do that. Hey guys, how you doing? So let me just see where we all are here. Good. Hang on. Oh, there we go. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Okay, good. So, hey guys, how are you? Hey Keisha, how's it going? Hey Bonnie, how are you? Hi Paula, lovely Paula. Hi Lori, how are you? How's it going? Hey Chris, nice to see you here. Hello Joyce, how are you? Hi Cheryl, how you doing? How's it going? Linda, hi. How's it going? Hi, Taylor. So you guys are all loading in. Love that. So today I thought we would talk a little bit about mediumship because I know for the last several, lives I've done, we've kind of focused on a little bit of personal development, right? A little bit of our own, our own self and stuff. And I love doing that. I love having topics that we can, that can help us along in life. And so I'm always very passionate about talking about all that kind of stuff. But if you know me, my most favorite, most passionate thing ever is mediumship. And so I never want to go too long without talking a little bit about that. So that's what I thought we would do today. And hi, you guys. Hi, Kathy. Hey, Teresa. Hey, Evie. How you guys all doing? You guys are all loading in here. Perfect. Lovely. Okay, good. So I thought it'd be really fun because, in March, this March, I started going back into doing live group readings. I'm not doing any of the, big audience readings yet, but, I feel like there's people that are comfortable now with doing small groups. And so people were reaching out to me about wanting to do it. And so I said, yeah. And so it's been great. And it's been really fun because I really think like even besides doing the small groups, which obviously I love and it's amazing and I love doing them, but I think it was really cool for other people to kind of find neat ways to kind of hang out and get together. I just know everyone has missed so many. Everyone has missed everybody else. And so these group readings I've been doing have been in homes of clients. And also, I did a Zoom one as well. But it's just a fun way to kind of get together and have some fun, and it gives you really interesting things to talk about even after the event. And it's been just a lot of fun. And so but when I do my small group readings, I always ask after I'm done giving readings. We do a little Q&A a little bit because oftentimes after doing an event like that, there's always questions. And I find it even in my personal readings. So I thought maybe today it might be kind of fun, since I'm kind of loving and feeling the vibe of all these small groups, that we can maybe talk a little bit about what other people have actually said being in, in small groups, and what their questions are in regards to mediumship and stuff. So I always find it interesting what people ask me. And this is a good opportunity for you guys too to put in the comments what, if you have a question that you would like me to ask, if you have a question you want to ask that you would like me to answer. So I am super happy to be able to do that as well. So feel free to do that. Before we go to, I just want to say my Kisses from Heaven event is going to be Saturday night online. And this one was kind of interesting too because I sold out actually already weeks ago, but there was something in me that just said don't post sold out, don't post sold out. Keep going. And so I'm like, okay. So I kind of was feeling like maybe there was somebody who needed to join and who hadn't yet. And I just kind of intuitively felt that. So anyway, so I kind of kept it open. So it's going to be a lovely full house, full Zoom room on a Saturday night, Kisses from Heaven. And I think it's going to have really good high vibes. And so I'm super excited about that. I'm going to close off tickets tomorrow morning. So anyway, and we kind of were a little bit sold out, but I just felt that need. And whenever I feel that push, you know me, I'm always one that listens to my intuition. And so there might have just been somebody that needed to come on board and receive a message. And so I extended the ticket sales a little bit and added a few extra seats. Anyway, so it's going to be fun. It's going to be this Saturday night on Zoom, 5 o'clock Pacific time is when it starts. So that would be 8 o'clock Eastern time. Anyway, so it's going to be fun. I'm always excited to bring in loved ones. And so I've been doing these small group readings. And so today we're going to just kind of talk about some questions. I put out 10 questions that were asked of me in these last recent small groups. And maybe they're questions that you might enjoy. Maybe they're questions that maybe you might have or might be something you like to know. And also post questions if you want. Let's see, just make sure I say hi, Taylor. How you guys doing? I'm just looking. Hi, Dawn. Hi, Mary Lou. Hey, Donna. How are you? Hey, Tina. Hey, Gia. Hello, Miss Tina. How are you? Good, guys. So wonderful. So Keisha asked, does my Benny hear me when I talk to him? 1,000%. And that's actually a question that indirectly was asked to me that I'm going to answer. And I think that will help you know that, yes, absolutely. So let's kind of get started. Let's just get going. So, okay, and I hope you guys are doing amazing. So, okay, so the first question that I got asked in one of my small groups after I gave out readings was, how did our loved ones know to be here today? So that was a question that was asked in one of my groups. And how did our loved ones know to be here today? So she wanted to know, like, here we are showing up for this group reading, but how do our loved ones in spirit know that we're here and knowing that we're coming here specifically for this? So how do our loved ones know to be here today? And my very simple answer to that is your intentions. You see, your intentions is an absolute direct communication to the spirit world. It's like your phone receiver, it's your telephone line. And when you have an intention to be, for instance, at a small group reading, because that's what this is, but even a private reading, right? You have an intent to come and receive a message. You have an intent because of the small group reading and what it's all about. And that intent is actually your call and inviting your loved ones in. So by you having the intent to show up for an event like that is actually letting your loved ones know that you want a reading. It's allowing them to know where you're going to be. Does that make sense? So intentions are really powerful, and that is absolutely the number one way to communicate with loved ones. It's the number one way to connect with the spirit world, intentions. So that's my quick answer on that. Hi, guys. Let me just wave. Hi, guys. Hey, you guys. How you guys doing? Just saying hi to everyone on Instagram. So that was question number one. How did our loved ones know to be here today? Because you know what? It is, but it's a good question, right? Because it's like, wow, here we all are. We're a group. We're all getting together. How do they even know? Like, all of our loved ones knew that we were all going to be here, and all of us got readings. Like, how does that work? That's like amazing. And it's because everyone that came has an intention to want to connect. And that is your invitation for your loved ones to come and sit with you, because that's what they're doing. They're sitting with you. Okay, so what do you think about that? Hey, Peggy, how are you? Hi, Sandy. Hi, Jeannie. Let's see here. Bonnie Scott says, I have my ticket to Kisses from Heaven. Wonderful. Hi, Tina from Reno. You miss your dad, honey? I know. I miss mine too. You got a daddy in spirit also? Me too. I'm sorry, honey. Hi, Doreen. Hi, Kathy. Kathy Castrove. How are you, sweetheart? Okay, let's just see. So, Keisha, does that make sense when it comes to asking, is Benny around? So know that they listen to your intentions. Your intentions come from your heart. And when anything comes from the heart, it is directly felt. It's a direct link to the spirit world. So, and intentions come from the heart. So, okay. So the next question that I got asked in a group reading was, does it make a difference if someone here today was really skeptical about mediumship? So they asked if there was somebody in this group reading that was really skeptical about mediumship, um, would that make a difference? And I answered that, and I'll answer it here again, but I answered that question when they asked it to me. And the answer is Spirit loves it, to be quite honest. Because here's the thing, when you hear the word skeptic, you think they are resistant, they are against it, they are not wanting it, they're non believers, and that's really not the case. What my experience has been whenever I do groups or audience readings or even, privates, um, when they're skeptic, it doesn't mean that they don't believe. It doesn't mean that they're resistant. What it means is they have not had an experience that has allowed them the understanding to know if, in fact, what this is. So, really, what a skeptic is saying is, I want to believe, but I don't know if I can believe because I have never had an experience. And I think that's safe to say. So, I always welcome skeptics because, skeptics are really, to me, just saying, I want it to be right, but I don't know if it is. I want it to be real. I don't know if it is. I just haven't had my own personal experience. And that's really what a skeptic is. But their heart is open to receive. And I have done readings where there was skeptics. And I remember standing up into a group reading and kind of going right to that one person, like, you're a skeptic, aren't you? And they're like, yep. And I remember saying, Spirit's going to have fun with you. And they had like 5 or 6 readings that night. And then they're like, all right, all right, all right, all right. I get it. But, so a skeptic doesn't have a closed heart. A skeptic just wants an experience that's going to make them feel different. And that's the difference. And so I always welcome a skeptic because I know they don't have a closed heart. They just want an experience. And I'm always happy to give them one. And I know their loved ones are as well. And so I always welcome it. It doesn't make me nervous at all. Now, there is a difference between a skeptic and somebody who is resistant. Now, that's where you can maybe fall into a little bit of an issue because when somebody is not an issue because there's no issues, but when you are giving a reading as a medium and you have somebody that's resistant, it's, Spirit is only going to meet you where you're at. And they can only come in as much as your heart allows it. And if there's resistance, your door's kind of closed, and Spirit will never bust open that door. Spirit will always meet you where you're at. Spirit is never going to push information onto you. Spirit will never push a message onto you. Why would they do that? They will meet you where you're at. And I'll give you an example of that. But just to kind of understand the difference between a skeptic and somebody who's resistant. And listen, somebody could be resistant to have a reading because a lot of different readings, maybe their upbringing taught them that maybe mediumship would not be good, or really maybe they're dealing with stuff emotionally that they're not really ready to deal with yet. And they're resistant because they don't want to open that up. They've kind of kept it closed and they've kind of locked it down. They don't want to go there. So that can make somebody really resistant, right? Somebody who has a lot of anxiety or, or not good with, any experiences. So, I mean, that could make you a little bit resistant. But so one of my last readings, one of my last group readings, there was a girl that came. There was, I think, 10 of us in the room. And my group readings were always, 8, but we can have more than 8, but I just won't guarantee everybody gets a reading. And in this case, that's what it was, but it was perfect because this one girl didn't get a reading. And I'll explain to you why. So she was really nervous about coming for the group reading. There was a whole group of girls coming and they knew each other. And she really wanted to partake in the event. She really wanted to partake with being with all the girls. And she was curious about mediumship, but she was not ready to receive anything. So she was very resistant, not really wanting to have an experience. Not really sure what that experience would leave her feeling like. But she wanted to be with the girls and she liked the idea of it, but just didn't want to step too much in it. And so anyway, so we did the reading. So I gave all these readings and everyone was getting readings. And then she didn't get one. And I didn't know at the time that she didn't want a reading, right? But I said, there's 10 girls. I won't guarantee everyone gets a reading. If there's 8 girls, I'll guarantee everyone gets a reading. But if there's 10, we're just going to have a lovely night. So this was a lovely night, 10 girls. But this one girl didn't get a reading, right? But she came in to the group reading with an intention of not wanting to have one, not wanting to have that experience in that way, not ready for it. So her heart was a little bit closed. It wasn't quite as open. And that's so important. But I'll explain to you why it's okay, how it was still really good for her to participate. And so, because there's benefit. And I always say, even when you do large group, audience readings, or we do, Kisses from Heaven, even if you don't get a reading, you can't walk away without feeling lifted. It's just, you can't do it. It touches you. It just does. And that's the spirit world doing that. And so she came to this reading. She didn't get a reading. And the host texted me the next day and said, that girl in the group that didn't receive a message. And I said, yeah. And she says, well, she had told me that she didn't want to have one, but I didn't want to say anything to you that night. And I said, okay, perfect. Less information I know, the better. And she says, but I want you to know that she left the night and she came to me at the door and she says, I had the best time ever. This was so fun. I really enjoyed myself. I want to do this again. She loved it. You see, and Spirit's going to meet you where you're at. So Spirit didn't push a reading on her because her heart wasn't ready for it. She wanted to tip her toe in a little bit and see what it's all about. So she got to see all the other girls get messages and get readings and everything. And that was what she needed. She wasn't ready for a reading that day, but at the end of the night, she realized what it was and what it was all about and how it touched all the other girls she knew in the room. And now she wanted to be a part of that. So she said when she left, I want to do this again. This was great. And Spirit met her where she was. And so what Spirit really did with her was plant her in a position, in a place that can allow her to have an experience that will allow her to open her heart more. And that's really what happened with her. She didn't know what it was going to be like, and she was resistant. And resistance is going to prevent you from maybe getting a reading. But in that resistance, she was able to experience everybody else. See, Spirit knows that. So her loved ones were there, but they're just not going to dump a message on her if she's not ready. You're only going to get what you need. You're only going to get what you're ready for. And so that's really important to understand. And then she left with such a great experience that now she's like, oh, this was amazing. I love this. I want to do this. This was so fun. So she left entirely different than when she showed up. And how perfect is that? So she got what she needed. It wasn't a message, but she got an experience that helped her understand that maybe down the road, she'll be ready for one, right? So anyway, so that's the difference between skeptic and being resistant. Okay, so that's a little example. Okay, so let me see. I have another one. Let's see. Let me just see here. Hi, guys. Let me just see. Whoops. Sorry. I'm just going crazy. Hang on. I have another question from my Q&A. Hi, guys. All right, so that was that one. So that was on, does it make a difference if someone here today was really a skeptic about mediumship? Okay, so the next question that I have is, how do you know someone is there wanting to communicate? What do they do to let you know? How do they appear to you? Okay, so that's like really 3 questions. How do you know someone is there wanting to communicate? What do they do to let you know that they're there? And how do they appear to you? Okay. All right, so really important with mediumship. So for anyone that's listening who is developing mediumship or trying to deepen their mediumship, or you're just curious, right? So how do they let me know? Okay, so here's number 1 rule is you cannot expect any reading to start off the same. I have learned in my experience working with the spirit world that every reading is going to start off differently. That's number one. So you're always going to get something different. You're going to, and I also know that it also kind of depends on how you are doing it. So like a personal reading, they're going to start off a little bit differently often than if you're doing an audience reading or when you're doing a small group reading. When there's more people in the audience, they're probably going to start with something much more practical, a practical piece of information that will only make sense to them, so that you can get it to the right person, because spirit never wants to go to the wrong person. Messages need to go to the right person. So it's really important that the loved one coming in is identified and it goes to the loved one that it's meant to be, right? In private readings, that's easier. But even in private readings, I'm just going to say in general, private group audience, it's always different. So sometimes I'm just opening up my auric field and I'm becoming aware and allowing loved ones to move in, right? They're just moving in, they're moving in. I'm beginning to feel the presence. I'm beginning to feel the presence. I'm sometimes beginning to feel the personality. Like this morning's reading, one of my morning readings was like, I had a dad that came in that was just like, whoo, he was like just really energetic and super joyful and like that. So I'll just begin to kind of start feeling their essence, or their personality, right? So sometimes we'll start off that way, and I don't see anything, and I'm just becoming aware of their essence and their personality. Sometimes they put an imprint in my mind where I'll say, like one of yesterday's readings, it was a husband I brought in, and I saw an imprint of him in my face. So I saw him, I saw his beard, I saw his eyes. It was almost like, it wasn't a full color image, but it was like a picture, like if a fossil, like if you have a leaf and you put it in the clay, to make an imprint, it was like that, but really a vivid imprint. So that's what I saw. If you have ever been to Pompeii in Italy, where you see kind of the sculptures and you can kind of see the imprint, it's like that. So I saw this man that I knew was a husband, and then he placed himself on top of a mountain. So I saw this mountain that he was meditating on. So I knew this was a husband. I knew. He showed me himself, so I knew he had facial hair. I knew he had a beard. I knew those eyes. I could see those eyes. And then I knew he was spiritual, and I knew that he meditated, and I knew he had a love for the mountains. So that's how I started my reading, and boom, there he was. Yes, yes, yes. So that's how that reading kind of started, right? So that's how that started. Hi, guys. Let me just... so that's one way that happens. Sometimes I'll get a reading, and it's like, I got a dad here, and he's showing me a sock filled with money. Can you understand that? A sock filled with money. So they'll give me something kind of practical that would make sense to their loved one, right? So sometimes they'll start that way. And guys, sometimes it is so subtle. Mediumship is fragile. It's really, you have to be so fragile with it. It's such sensitive work. And I have found that you just have to allow the loved ones to come in the way they want to. And I think that if I was, and I love clairvoyance, believe me, I do, but if I was forceful on demanding clairvoyance for every loved one, when a loved one coming in would prefer and be more comfortable using feelings or using, downloads or clairaudience, where I could hear them, then I don't think I would do a good service to the spirit world, because I have to, as a medium, or the way I work as a medium, they're the boss, and I'm allowing them to work with me any way they want to. So I then have to be open from reading to reading to reading, even if I'm doing demonstrations and I'm doing 10 readings, on stage or over Zoom. Every person that I'm bringing in, they're going to start differently, and that is great, but you have to be, as a medium, willing to not expect any reading to start the same. And I think that if you can approach work that way, your readings will really flourish, because you'll be able to really allow the loved one to work with you the way they want to. And also understand that the information from every loved one comes in differently. And so understand that the way that they can make me understand what they want to say will require them to work with me differently. Does that make sense? So not everything I'm going to get is going to be clairvoyant to understand what they want to do if they want to bring feeling. So they might be loved ones that really want to work with feeling. And so they'll just overwhelm me with emotions and feelings. And I'll just know exactly who they are. I just know who they were. I had a dad come in today, actually, I did a reading with her, with the sister. And that, that was like incredible. That was just like, he was right in the room, and then boom, there was mom right in the room, and they were like exactly how they were in life. It was amazing. And but that was them giving me the feelings. There wasn't so much clairvoyance with them. It was more of a feeling that, and I just brought them right in the room, and it was just like spot on, even to the way the two of them bickered. It was perfect. So, but if they would have only given me images, or I would only have allowed them to work with me with images, then I would not have been able to bring them into the room for their daughters in the way that I did today, where they were like, wow, my parents were here today, clearly here today, OMG. And so they know how they want to express themselves to their kids, for instance, in that situation, or for any reading. So just understand that they have to work their way, and every single reading is going to be different, and it needs to be. And it would be real easy if I just knew, oh, I'm going to sit, I'm going to open up for 10 minutes, I'm going to get a clairvoyant image, I'm going to get something practical, we're going to go, and it's going to, but it doesn't work like that all the time. Everyone is different. And so that was, hopefully I answered that question. How do you know someone is there wanting to communicate? And also sometimes, I'll be honest, I don't feel anything. I just sit, and this is important to understand too. I just sit and I just start talking, and and it's like they put the words out of me, and then that's how they begin to work. And I just say something, I just start talking, and I didn't feel anybody. I just say, okay, I just want to, and then boom, the words just come out, and then there they are. And so that happens often as well. And so that's another way where I don't feel anything at all. But again, that's the way that loved one wants to come in. So I'm always going to allow it. If I don't feel anything at all, I know that they're coming. I know they're not going to not come. They just want to allow me the opportunity to know how they want to work with me to deliver the messages for their loved one. That's it. So, okay, so there we go. And how do they appear to me? Well, when they show clairvoyant images, I just did a reading with a lady yesterday, and I brought in her dad and her mom, and they were so clairvoyant. Like, they storytelled their whole life from the beginning of her life with them all the way into the end. It was so clairvoyant that they told a whole story through like a picture book. And they gave me a vision of what every picture looked like that their daughter had displayed at the dad's funeral. And they even like showed me furniture that they had that was in the bedroom of my client, and what was inside the drawer, that they had this picture of them inside the drawer, and then there was another piece of furniture that was in another part of the room that housed a bunch of pictures on it, and this one had all of their paperwork in it. And they just like were like clairvoyantly just like telling the entire story, but that's how they wanted to work. They were dancing. I saw the mom's long pearls that were tied in a knot, and then I saw a picture of her with the dog in her lap, that her dog's on the other side with her, and then I saw the wedding picture, and then the grandparents came in and showed me this big portrait of them on the wall in her house, and then all of these clairvoyant images of all the loved ones coming in. They all work clairvoyantly, and then that woman, my client, emailed me all of these pictures that were all of the pictures that I saw. It was amazing. Amazing. Even this huge, like museum sized portrait of her grandparents. Exactly. And the dog on the lap, and even the color that the mom was wearing that she was telling me. They were so clairvoyant, but that's how they wanted to work. So they showed up that way, and it was fun. It was just a lot of fun too. I just got to say, I love clairvoyance. Okay, hang on. Oh, hi guys. Hey guys, if you guys want to post questions too, I can take some questions. Okay, so I hope that answers questions. Let me just see here. We just guys want to stay on top of this. Let's see here. Tina Cook asked, why don't I ever dream of my dad, even though we were so bonded? If there's probably still a lot of grief, it might be a little bit of that. Again, when you receive that, whether it be visitations or dreams, it's very spontaneous and it's not really predictable. So it'll always happen and it will happen. It will just happen when you least expect it. So, what I recommend for you, Tina, is to put the thought out of your mind about needing to dream of him, because that is actually probably causing that resistance, which prevents him from coming in to give you a dream. So I would say just put it out of your mind and just go to sleep and wish to have a good sleepful night. And spontaneously, when you least expect it, you'll receive that as you sleep, either as a visitation or a dream. But when we're asking for it all the time and pushing, it actually creates resistance to receive it. So I hope that answers your question. And thank you for the question. Peggy O'Connor, I'm watching Monica. Does it matter how long my loved one has been gone? No. Teresa asks, does it matter how long my loved one has been gone? No. I have done readings where they haven't even had a funeral. And I wasn't knowing of that until after I actually was in the reading. I have brought in a dad who had been on the other side 65 years. I have brought in great great grandfathers who were doctors that came and did house calls. You're going to receive information from somebody in spirit that would help you in your life in some way. So understand that there might be people that come into your readings that you didn't expect, but they have something to offer you that will help you in your life journey for the betterment, will help you forward. And sometimes it's our loved ones, but sometimes there's also other people you don't expect that have something to share, that have a similar experience or life experience or have gone through something that will help you forward. And that happens often in readings. So does that make sense? Okay, so let's just see. Okay, all right, another question that I get, were you ever afraid to do this work? No, never. I wasn't afraid when I saw the first person in my room when I was like 5, 6 years old. That never scared me either. No, I will tell you, I wasn't. But here's the difference that I want to clarify is when I got into the mediumship, I had a very clear understanding of what the work was. When I was receiving all of these experiences, when people are talking to me in the bathroom and people are standing behind me as I'm washing dishes, and when I feel somebody playing with my hair when I'm driving my car, and when, when all of these kind of things are happening, I don't want to say afraid, but like, what the heck's going on? I would say that. I would say it's more like that. And I think that, and even like having the man at the foot of my bed, I think that none of it scared me, but what it did is it made me want to seek more. It made me want to understand more. It made me go on my quest for understanding what the heck was happening at such lightning speed. Like, what is going on? Something is clearly going on with me. Something's going on around me. And I had an eagerness to want to know what that was. And so I went on that quest. And on that quest, I was able to understand much clearer about mediumship and what the role of mediums and mediumship is. And once I had a clear understanding that not only was this healing those that come to sit with the medium, but also their loved ones, that it helps them too, I was like sold. It was like, wow, like, yes, I'm in. And then everything just went like crazy fast. But so no, there was never any fear because I never got into the work until I had an understanding of what my role as a medium would be and how I wanted to step in that role. That it became my mission to really try to be the best medium I can be and also be able to create the experience for my clients that will leave them lifted, and allow them to feel their loved ones, come forward for them. And so it became a real big passion of mine. So no, there was never any fear. Nope. And there's nothing to be afraid of. So no, nope. Listen, I said to somebody in one of my readings, I said, listen, in one of my last groups, I said, listen, I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a friend. I'm a medium. I'm a medium, but I'm a lot of other things also. And, so for me, how I step into any of those roles are very important to me. And that includes mediumship and being a medium. So, no. So I had to have a clear understanding of what the work was before I tackled it, and I do. Um, Keisha says she's okay. Hang on. Does our loved ones in heaven miss us? Kathy asks. And okay, oh boy, I'm going to really get in trouble for this one. Um, no, they don't miss you because they're always with you. You see, you miss them because you don't have that, you don't see them like they see you. You don't feel them around you like they feel you. So, because of that, no, they don't miss you. And there's no time and space in spirit like there is here. So, for us, 10 years, 5 years, 20 years, we grieve through those times not being with our loved ones. But in the spirit world, there's no time or space. So, everything's right now. And they're seeing you every day, they're watching you every day. And I just did a reading, one of my readings yesterday or the day before. The the mom, it was a group reading. Actually, it was one of the group readings where a mother had passed away when she was young, and the mom came in and just started talking to her daughter about all of that she has been following her path in her life all the time, that she's watched every step. And she was speaking about that. And our loved ones are always with us. It's just we don't understand that because you don't feel that, but they feel that, they see that. And so, to answer your question, no, they don't miss you because they don't have to, because they're never without you, and they know that because they're always with you. And so there is nothing to miss. It's different than where we are. Hope that makes sense. Hope I didn't get you mad. But because I don't want you to think like your loved ones don't love you, because they deeply love you. It's just there's not a missing. There's not a missing because they're always with you. So, yeah. Okay. Let me see. Okay. You're welcome, Teresa. Okay, let me just see here. Do you ever have readings where spirits just aren't coming through for a person, or do spirits always want to communicate? Like I answered earlier, loved ones always want to communicate. They're always around you, they're always with you, and they're always wanting to let you know that. So, yes, they always want to communicate, but again, they're going to meet you where you're at. They're going to meet you where you are. And you have to ask yourself, if you want a connection, are you resistant at all? Is there something that's holding you back? Is there something that would resist you from really wanting to be a receiver? And then I would just say, your loved ones are with you all the time, but then if you really want, a communication where you can really get data and information and really feel their presence in a bigger way than a medium, obviously. But they're with you whether you see medium or not. You don't need me to get your loved ones to be with you. Your loved ones are always with you. A medium is just able to have that communication, where that interpreter, and we just have that understanding of the language of the spirit world, which is clairvoyance, which is pictures and feelings and imagery and symbols and all of that. So, and we know how to work that. Okay, so let me see if that answers your question. Thank you for all your questions, guys. I love this. All right, so let's just see here. Are dreams considered a visitation from your loved ones or just a memory? Dreams, and if you go on my Facebook, no, if you go on my website, and you go to my video page and you go to the conversation page, there's different topics that I spoke about, and one of them is dreams and visitations, and you'll have a better understanding of the difference if you watch that Facebook Live that I did. It's on my It's on my website under my video page, and it's under the section called Conversations. And there's different topics, right? Dreams and visitations and different topics. So you can enjoy those. Okay, so that'll help you understand that a little bit. So I don't go into it here. But there is a difference between dreams and visitations. Okay. Evie asked, do spirits tend to open up more with different mediums? Maybe, yes, because understand that, we are your loved ones have to communicate with the medium with their database and what they have, you see. So if somebody, if there was a loved one on the other side that was super like scientific and super philosophical and and that's what he wanted to put forward and that's what he wanted to bring forward, I would not be his medium, because I'm lovey and cozy and I want to create a lovely experience, and I'm bringing in memories and I'm bringing in their personality, and I'm allowing them to come close to blend and to allow them to, have the floor. And that's very different than somebody wanting to maybe give data about topic like that would not be really anything that would be for me. So I think, yes, Evie, I think that, depending upon what the loved one wants to express, sure. You know what I mean? And I think that a lot of mediums have experienced a lot in their lives and gone through a lot of things in their lives for a reason. So there is a bigger database for loved ones to speak about. To be able to work with us through. But like if there's particular kind of things like that, then there might be a particular medium that they would just kind of draw you to go towards. I think that loved ones bring you to your mediums anyway, because they know you, they know what's going on with you, and they know us too. So you're all lit up, but so are we. And so they kind of know where to go to bring forward what they want, if that makes sense. Okay. So let's see here. Johanna says, I have had 2 readings in less than a year. Would you suggest to have another reading after a year? Meaning, is there such a thing as getting too many readings? Okay. And I have read for you. And so what I want to say to you is I am not a believer of I'm not a believer of you getting hooked on mediumship readings. And I'm not trying to put myself out of work, but I really believe that readings are a beautiful thing to have every now and again. But I think that if you want to have them again and again and again and again and again, I'm not going to be your medium, because I will cut you. I will not, I will say, hold off. I don't want to see you for 6. Because I really believe that you need to process what the messages have been, and you need to work on those things. And I don't want anyone to have a crutch when it comes to mediumship. Is it okay to have more than one? Absolutely. Does sometimes somebody need a few to help them through? Absolutely. Is that totally fine? Absolutely. If we're just doing it to do it, then I would say no. To check in every now and again with your loved ones, not a problem. Do you see the difference? What I'm trying to say, that there's a difference in between, just wanting to kind of just stay connected and then always wanting to be connected. Because I will tell you, spirit will probably push you off, because they don't want you to be hindered by wanting readings. They want to be there for you, but the spirit world, your loved ones, want you to enjoy and move on and when you're in your life. And mediumship is about helping you to do that. And it's good to check in, but not all the time. So did I answer that question correctly? Honey, does that make sense to you, sweetheart? So I just, the difference is totally fine every now and again, totally fine in the beginning if we really need that healing. Sometimes we need a few readings. I just want to avoid somebody turning it into entertainment. And I'm not saying that's what you're doing, because I know you are not. I know you are not doing that, but I'm just saying some people might. And so that's what I'm addressing. Yeah? Okay. All right. Hi, Kathy. Okay, good. All right. So let's see. Another question. I asked this one. Okay. When and how did you know you could do this? Okay. So question I got asked was, when and how did you know you can do this? And I want to say that, how did I know this? So in easiest terms, just to keep it real, is I went to a workshop back in 2000 that was called Silva Mind Control, and it was a workshop that was on intuitiveness, and it was on it's lovely. It's called Silva Mind, and in that workshop they did a lot of remote viewing, and where you could kind of try to kind of teleport yourself somewhere. And so I had like a partner that I worked with, and I literally brought myself into her home and walked the home, described her entire kitchen, her front door, her backyard, the floor plan of her house, the color of her couch. It was crazy. And I was like, whoa. And it was like beyond. It was like, and I thought, whoa, that's like unbelievable. And in that workshop, I it was the first experience I've ever had with, working with, energy, or to do any of this kind of work on that level. So I was amazed at how strong I did on all of those little exercises. But then, if I'm honest, it was in 2005 when my kid's father passed away. Um, and intuitively, I was always, but when he passed away, he phoned. The phone rang, and somebody was on the other line, and for my son, and the phone went staticky, and over the static came their dad, and he started speaking, and I was the only one that heard it. So every hair on my body stood up. I could not. He'd only been on the other side maybe 3 days, and from his passing, tremendous experiences were happening to me, tremendous experiences. And it was from that moment that I became very aware that the spirit world was around me. And I think you might find this with other mediums too, that something tragic happens or something traumatic happens that really opens up that ability. And for me, although that was a very hard time for me. My kids were really grieving. And as a mom, that's hard. And to see and to watch, and you're not really knowing if you have the tools to help them and looking for tools to help them. And it was just a hard time. But since that time, like, that's when everything just, the floodgates kind of started opening. And I became very aware of experiences around me. But it was that phone call that really, like, whoa. I mean, I wish I had a picture of what my eyes must have looked like. I was like, what's happening? Anyway, so it was like in 2005 is when I really felt the spirit world around me in a stronger way, moving really close and getting my attention. Okay, so that's that. Does the person have the same personality when they cross over? So somebody asked, when a loved one passes over, when the loved one passes to the other side, when they cross over, do they have the same personality? And the answer is absolutely, because if, like one of today's readings, had I brought in the parents, if I didn't bring them in and allow them to really express their essence of how they are and how they were in life and what they and their behavior and their mannerisms and how they would speak and how they would do things and their personality, and they wouldn't recognize their loved one. So they have to come in like their personalities. So for you to know it's them, because if you had a cranky, grouchy grandpa and I said, Grandpa's here, he is just filled with joy. They're going to be like, not my grandpa. He was grouchy. So he has to come in grouchy. So you can understand. I have to say, I got a man here, I feel like a grandfather, and he's real grouchy. And you're like, yeah. And he really tells me, he always stole your French fries on your plate, and he got mad if you wouldn't let him. Like, I would have to say something that would make you understand that it's grandpa, right? So anyway, so yes, of course they come in. We are a soul, and we are who we are. So I think probably what they might have meant more was, do they change in the spirit world? So do they change? Like, that's their personality, but do they change? And yeah, I mean, they see things differently, for sure. And does that change somebody? Of course. In life for you here, when you have experiences, doesn't it change you too? So it's really not that unusual, right? That they would be a little changed from the experiences of seeing life now differently now that they're on the other side. But personality and essence, if they came in different, my goodness, you wouldn't identify them. And they are who they are. Um, okay, so let's just see here. Make sense? Okay, let me see if there's any more questions. Do you ever meet people that have your special mediumship gift? Can we do things to make us more open to spirit? Amy asks. Um, can you do? Yeah, of course, you could do things. First of all, the biggest thing I have to just say, because I think that during my development, I sat for 3 years in silent meditation. And it's not that meditation makes you a medium. It's understanding the awareness, understanding how you feel, understanding how your body feels. So understanding that energy that's around you, what that feels like. So when somebody steps in, you know what that feels like because you know it feels different than you. And you need awareness to be able to do that. And I sat in silent meditation for 45 minutes to an hour every day for 3 years. And that was what worked for me. During that time, I also was building my own qualities as I sat. So that sitting was also benefiting and deepening the qualities that were within me. They were opening them up. It was like a seed that was being watered, and being given light and giving nutrition that was allowing it to grow. So the sitting in that silent meditation did that as well to kind of nourish and grow those qualities that were within me that I really wasn't even aware of half of them. It all just kind of started sprouting. But I would say that would be the first and foremost thing. And I would even say just practicing a minute of stillness, of just feeling what you feel like in just one moment time. Just how's that feel? And see if you feel your body. Like, what does your body feel like? Do you even know, like what your body feels like? Because that's important to know what your body feels like, especially with mediumship, because you need to know when somebody else steps in, you got to know that that feels different than what you feel like. And if you don't know what you feel like, you're going to confuse what you're feeling from somebody else coming in and you. Make sense? So that's a very simple thing. Awareness, I think, is very important that you can work on. Okay, so let's just see here. How to develop our mediumship when we have some connections with spirits. Um, ask. Ask. Remember when I was developing and I said, and I had that energy that always came to me every day, twice a day, it kept showing up and it was so strong and so powerful. And it was like, oh my God, what is going on? And then one day I just had the courage. I'm like, who are you? What do you want? And they said, I'm your tutor. It's time for you to know me. And the next day is when he was standing at the foot of my bed. I asked. And then I got that download. It was the last thing I expected, right? But spirit is full of surprises, right? So they're very unexpected. So I think it's very important to not put pressure or demands on the development and just be an allower and just allow. And I think that really helps. Okay, let me see here. If one is ready, how can we see a spirit? When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Right? And I think that that's the case. Like, I think that if that's a possibility for you and there's a desire that's within you, then begin paying attention of who you're coming into contact with, what things are showing up in your feed. Pay attention to the signs that are coming to you to maybe move you further, right? Move you further down that road. I know that, when you're ready, it's time. And I know that these were qualities I always had within me, but it was really just intuitive stuff for many, many years. And it really wasn't until my kid's father passed that changed. And even then, it was many years before I'm doing what I'm doing today. Because I think it's not only about having the qualities and having the desires, but it's about it being the right time for you and being the right time for your family and being the right time. So there's a lot of things that need to kind of come together to make that magic, right? To make it magical. And, like it wasn't until my kids were off in college that I actually made this my focus, and then things moved really quickly when I made it the priority. But when you have young kids and you're busy and you have another business and you're working, you can't put the same time into it, and that's okay. You put in what you can, but I know that it comes to you when the timing is right for you, and so you have to ask yourself, is the time right in your life? Also, maybe it is. And if so, then pay attention to and start exploring avenues and just get started. Because, we can't get there if we sit parked on the driveway. We have to kind of get the car going and start moving in that direction towards what it is you're desiring, right? So, and that's the same with mediumship. If everything else is in alignment and your time in your life is ready to develop this, because I will tell you, it takes a lot of discipline. And mediumship, I gave up a lot to do mediumship, and I'm not complaining at all. I'm grateful. I wouldn't change anything. But, there's a lot of things I had to change in my own life to really make this my life's work. And for me, I wanted it to be my life's work. And so I knew there was things that needed to change within me and around me to make that possible. And, so I guess the question would be also is, to what degree do you want to do it? You know what I mean? So those are lovely questions to ask yourself, to get more clarity on, how far you want to take the car, right? You're going to pull out of the driveway, but are you just interested in this or just interested in this? Or do you want this to be life's work, right? Okay, makes sense? Okay, so let me see here. Also, Linda, you also said, if one is ready, can we see spirit? Again, like when I was developing, I never really saw spirit for a while, except for when I was very little in my room. And then when the man came to the foot of my bed, and then my clairvoyance came a little later. I started with feeling and sensing and aware of that awareness. And then clairvoyance came, and then I began to see. But again, it's here in my head that I see it. I don't see it in front of me like I did my guide at the foot of my bed. That I saw in front of me. But that rarely happens to me. It's usually always within here that I get it all. And we're all going to be just a little bit different, and that's what's beautiful, because we're all beautifully, uniquely different, and our gifts shine the way they're supposed to shine because of our own qualities that we are as a person. And that's, and the spirit world is going to work with that. You see, the spirit world know you, and the spirit world know the mediums, and the spirit, you know what I mean? So, okay. Okay, here's a good one. What if you were told something from spirit that would upset a client? Would you say it? So, really good question. This was asked also at one of my, all of these were asked at one of my small group readings, which, by the way, would love to be able to do. So, if you guys are thinking about wanting to do a group reading, whether it be on Zoom or in person, reach out to me because they're so fun. And I just think people are just having a ball with them. And I've done them on Zoom and also in person. And it's just a fun time to be with your girls, and so and family. It's a wonderful time, and so I really recommend you look into that. It's fun. But okay, so this one asked me, what if you were told something from spirit that would upset a client? Would you say it? And this is really important because, listen, if you're getting a message, it's a message that needs to be addressed. But when you're receiving a message, and it could be very sensitive and it could be upsetting, the medium I have an enormous responsibility to my client and to the spirit world. How I deliver that message that I receive is absolutely 1,000% important on how that is going to affect the client. And when you hear something that needs to be addressed, I know there's a reason that that person needs to hear it, but how I deliver it really is in the finesse of really making sure you're looking out for your client. Because, so let me give you an example. So I was doing a private reading with a girl that came to see me in my office, and I saw her grandfather, and her grandfather showed me in my mind standing up, hunched down, giving me a feeling of absolute remorse, looking down, ashamed. Now, as I saw that clairvoyant image, I felt he was ashamed. I felt he had tremendous remorse to his granddaughter. And I knew something was very, very wrong. Very wrong. And as I was feeling into this grandfather, I became aware of a physical mistreatment. Now, do I need to use those words to have my client understand what the grandfather was coming forward to say? No. Why do I need to trigger feelings like that within her? What I said was, your grandfather is here. He comes to you with great sadness and remorse for his treatment towards you. And then I looked at her in my eyes and I leaned into her and I said, do you understand what I'm saying? And her eyes welled up in tears and she said, yes. I said, he is very apologetic and very remorseful to you. And he says he knows you will not forgive him. And it's okay. And she started crying and she says, I was hoping he would be the one that came in today because I needed to hear that. But you see, I didn't have to go into what it was or to what degree it was. I didn't need to do that. All I needed to do is deliver the message in the essence that it was given to me without certain things that might trigger her in a bad way, because I wanted this experience to lift her positively. And the fact that she said, that's who I wanted to hear from today. I've been waiting for that. I've been waiting for that. And I told her how he showed up with his head down, slouched, and the shame he felt. So you see, she got what she needed. I didn't have to go in detail. So I gave it to her in a way that she needed to hear it without having to get too personal. Does that make sense? And I think that there's a huge responsibility to a medium to deliver messages accurately when messages come in that way. And, you know, I did an audience reading. There was over 100 people in the room, and I became aware of this gentleman, and he gave me this very particular thing about him, very particular thing. And I threw it out to the audience, and I said, I have this man here, and I gave this particular piece of information. I don't even want to say what it is. Very particular. And one hand came up. 100 people, 120 people, one hand. And I said, you can understand this information? She says, yes. And I said, I know this is your father. And I know that your father comes forward here to apologize to you. And her face got nervous. She was nervous that I was going to go farther and say what it was. There's a room of over 100 people. Do you think I'm going to put her in that position? I didn't need to. I looked right at her directly. I zoned out everybody else. I looked right at her and I said, your dad is coming in and he wants you to know he is so sorry. I didn't even say anything more than that. I said, can you understand why your father is saying this? She got emotional and said, yes. I never thought I would hear it. And then I said, and also he wants to wish you a happy birthday. Just to solidify it was in fact her dad. Her birthday was the next day. So I didn't need to go into it. I just needed to give her the message. And the message was her father apologizing. And she knew for what it was. I didn't have to share that in front of 100 people. And that is really important, to have integrity when you're delivering messages. It's really important to know that you're working for the spirit world, but you got sensitivity of somebody sitting in front of you that's getting a message that could be life changing. And that's a tremendous responsibility, and one you must be so fragile with and careful about. And so, yes, I can give a message, and if it's hard for somebody to hear, but how I say it, sometimes less is more. And in that situation is that. Does that make sense, you guys? Does that make sense? Because that's, really important, because the spirit world is never going to give you anything uncomfortable. But if there's healing that's involved to help you forward in life, a message that could be uncomfortable to hear could be, but then it's to the medium to decide how am I going to deliver this in a way that will let this girl leave lifted and healed. And that's the responsibility of the medium, and making sure that they give the messages accurately and in a way that will be positive, right? Make sense? Okay. Hi, Tracy. Let me just see what you guys think about that. You guys have all these wonderful questions. Hey, Rachel. Hi, Sarah. Okay, good. So you understand that? So yeah, so if there's a message that's uncomfortable, it's because there's healing there that needs to be addressed. But then it's the medium that needs to really be, classy about it. You need to be able to deliver that message in a way that's going to leave that person uplifted and still get that healing. And sometimes less is more, because, they know what they're apologizing for, right? You don't need to put it in front of other people. So you got to be respectful of the person getting the reading as well. So I'm a stickler for that. Anyway. Okay. Let's see what else. Okay, so I talked about that question. Let me see. Oh, okay. So I get this one here too. Can I take my glasses off to read. That's not very smart. Okay. Can I shut it off? Does spirits always bug you, even when you don't want them there? Okay. So first of all, okay. So can I shut it off? Do spirits always come around? Do they bug you even when you don't want them around? All right. So I get why somebody would ask this question, and I have gotten it asked before in different wording. First of all, when I'm working, loved ones are never bugging me. No, come, closer. Come on, let me feel you. Tell me about yourself. I want to know about you. Tell me, share. What do you want to say? No, come. They never bug me. But when I am not working, they just don't bug me. I'm saying bug because that's what the question was. Spirit never bugs me. I love the spirit world, and I love the loved ones, and I love them coming close. And when I'm working, I want them so close to me, as close as possible. Come, close. Please. So I can, really be able to feel them, so I can express what they want for you. But when I'm not working, I'm not working. But I don't have to like shut it on or shut it off, or turn it on or turn it off, or zip it up or zip it down, or a lot of people have rituals, and I just never got into those. And I have really found, and now, maybe this would be more of a case if somebody is not a working medium. If somebody is developing or practicing, or, not doing it professionally, then maybe that might be something that is maybe more common. But, where spirits kind of hang around, because it's a good question, right? Because it's like, spirit world is right here. Right? So it's right here. So, and if I could feel energy, and I could feel loved ones, I can feel spirit, then why wouldn't I feel it 24/7? So it's an excellent question. But here's the other point of it is, when I'm working as a medium and I am working with the spirit world, they're my boss. I'm their employee. And no boss is going to want their employee to be exhausted. No boss is going to want their employee to show up to work drained, exhausted, tired, not willing to do their work at their best capability. And so the spirit world isn't going to put a bunch of stuff on me all the time, because I'll be exhausted, because my energy will be running all the time, and then my battery will drain. And so if my energy is always out touching and affecting and touching and communicating outward, then that's what's going to happen. And so the spirit world know that. And so they don't do it. They really just don't do it. So I don't have to zip or turn on and turn off or say I'm off or the window signs closed. But it's fine to do that if you're a working medium and that works for you, or you're developing and that works for you. There's nothing wrong with doing it. But very, very, very few times have I ever had spirit come in. It's been a very few times. And when it has happened, I have delivered the message because I know if it is happening, that it's supposed to get delivered. I will never put upon anybody a message that they are not willfully there to receive. So I'm just never going to do that. I'm going to protect the space of that person. I'm going to respect their space. I'm never just going to dump a message on to anybody. But if I get it and it's strong, then I know there's a reason for it. And it happened with my husband. I was out to dinner with him, and his dad came in on our date. We're out for dinner on a date. We had date night, and he came right in, and he just started talking about his special cufflinks, and he put them in his hand. And I said, Joe, your dad's here, and would you understand he wants to talk about his cufflinks? And he puts them in the hand, and my husband was like, oh my gosh, I was just holding my dad's cufflinks this morning, and I was thinking if I should wear them. So, it was a sweet little message, right? But, he was my husband. So I'm always very mindful of that, but I rarely get it. I rarely get it. So to answer your questions, I think Spirit respects our space as well. And they respect yours too, by the way. So even loved ones in spirit, they're always around us, but they respect your space also. And they really, really do. And as a working medium, that's really important, because if I'm on all the time, I won't be able to show up to work well. And so I think it's important that we consider that. Okay, so another question. I hope that answers your questions, guys. Is that answer your questions? That was from the small group readings. Okay, sorry. Let me just see here. I'm all over the place. Okay, I know we got to hurry up here. I'm taking my. Okay, so let me just see here. Okay, Peggy says, I can't wait to share a reading with you in April with my niece. So looking forward to meeting you. You are awesome. Yay. Thanks, Peggy. Looking forward to seeing you. Thank you for that. Okay, so a question I got asked, do you need to be on a special diet? Do you need to be on a special diet? And people are going to have different opinions about this. And again, I'm only sharing mine, and it's just my opinion and what I believe to be true and what works for me. So always know anything I'm sharing is my experience and how I approach things. So do you need to be on a special diet? You know what? I'm going to say that when I eat better, I feel better. When I feel better, I perform better. I know that not drinking alcohol is a good thing. I know that I drink very little alcohol. Again, like I said earlier, I've had to change a lot in my life. Not that I was a heavy drinker, but I changed a lot of things in my life. Hi, guys. Hi, guys. Anyway, and so I had to change a lot of things in my life. And so I really feel the best diet for a medium, coming from me personally, the best diet for me as a medium is to be joyful, to have balance, not to have alcohol, and to get sleep. That's really my diet, and that's what I live by. And do I miss going out and having a bunch of happy hours all the time? Yes. But will I do that if I have a few days off and I don't work? I will, but it's few and far between, and I'm okay with that because I want to show up and be my best when I come to work, because it gets me emotional. Sorry. When clients come to see me, they're looking forward to the visit with their loved ones. When somebody comes and books a reading with me, they're looking forward to that session. They're looking forward to that connection. They want to know who's going to come in. They're hoping who they want comes in. They want that. They're looking forward to it. They might even have done it on a special day because I can't show up 50%. That's not fair to the spirit world. That's not fair to my client. And so I know a special diet is balance, no alcohol, sleep, and joy. So that's the diet I try to live in. Am I perfect? No. Do I really try to live that? Yes. So yes, but so that's the diet that I believe in. Okay, and also a question I got asked was, how come they don't talk about their passing all the time? How come loved ones don't necessarily talk about their passing? One of these group readings, not one talked about their passing, so that's why this question came up. And the simple answer is they got a whole life to share, and they have lots of wonderful memories to bring up for you, and they have lots of other things that they could talk about. Why would they want to come and talk about a time if it was really a hard time in their life when they have so many other memories to share? You see, I did a reading the other day, and this woman's dad came in. He had just transitioned a few weeks ago, and he came in so freaking happy. So freaking happy. He was so happy. And he talked about the end of his life and how he wasn't himself. And he talked about the end of his life, just really briefly. He talked about his end of his life and how he felt caged and he felt trapped. And he is so glad to be out of that shell. She then told me he had dementia, Alzheimer's, and he talked a few minutes about that, and he was so happy to not have that anymore. He mentioned it just a little bit because he was almost like, he even said, he goes, I feel so bad that I felt I wasn't myself. I'm so, like, he was so cute, and he was so cute, but he was like, I feel so bad, like I was mean, I was like this, I was this. He goes, I'm so happy to not be like, and he just went on, and then he just went on and gave an entire reading on his life and his times with his daughter, and his wife came in and they started holding hands and they were swinging hands, and she said, they never not held hands. They were constantly holding hands, and they had brought in all this beautiful information for their daughter. She left that reading. This reading was so amazing for her, and she left that reading with seeing how happy her dad was, so happy her parents were together again, so happy they were. And they talked about all these memories. I got all these clairvoyant images of them dancing on a cruise ship, and what they were wearing and how they were, and how she had that picture now of them on that cruise ship, and all of these things, and how she was adopted, and how the dad said, we picked the best of the litter, and they talked about how that life got good once she, and they were so happy, and they talked about so many things, and he didn't want to hang out there and talk about that passing, but he only really did, I think, because he felt like, oh my god, that was so not me. And then he's had this rest of this reading talking about what a lovely man he was, and how cute this couple was, and how they were now together on the other side. It was amazing. And so they don't always want to talk about how they passed, because if it wasn't a good passing, like, why would they want to, unless it has to do with some healing that needs to happen for you? Then they'll go there. They'll talk about it. So people do talk about their passing, but they don't always want to spend a lot of time there, because there's so many other things in their session with you that they'd rather share. But they will talk about it if it's important for you to hear it. Does that make sense? So that's the difference. Okay, perfect. Okay, yay. Hi, Nina. How do you prepare right before a reading? Great question. Every single time I sit with the spirit world, so I have a reading, I always make enough time, just enough time between readings where I can send over the file. So all my clients, I record your readings, and then I send it over. And then as I'm getting that uploaded and converted and everything, I sit and prepare for my next reading. And I always will sit for 10 or 15 minutes with the spirit world. I set my intention for the reading. I ask for the reading to be helpful for my client, to have it be healing for my client, and that they receive what they need, and that they hear from who they need. And I always start my reading that way. And so that's what I always do. And I open up my auric field already, and I let them know that I'm here to be of service to them, and that's what I do. And so hold on. So I always let them know I'm here to be of service to them and to be of service to my client. And I just want the best for all involved. And I'm here to be your Uber driver. I'm here to be your vehicle. Use me and come work with me any way you want. And this is my conversation that I have with the spirit world every time before I sit with my client. And I just do that to kind of set the intent for the reading. I never know what's going to come forward. I don't need to know what's going to come forward, but I always know I want it to be a benefit to my client. I want it to be healing for my client, and I want them to leave the session feeling happier than when they came in. And that's always my intent for each of my clients that work with me. So that's what I do, Nina. Okay, so hope that helps. That's a killer sweater, by the way. Oh, thank you. It's feeling a little hot though. But I got my little turtleneck on and everything because it's always so cold in my office. Although it's not that cold today. I think they've adjusted the temperature. Melissa Scott, your special diet is Mexican chips and salsa. That's true. Yes, yes, that is absolutely true. That's right. So that is also part of my diet. That's very true. I love that you know that. Thank you. I just can't be without Mexican food. I just love it so much. Okay, so I think that's good. Another question was, does your children and husband support you? 1,000%. And 1,000%. And I'm really lucky. I know that that's not the case for everybody. And I got to say, in the beginning with all of this, I don't really know if my husband was that much of a believer. Again, I don't want to say he was a skeptic, but I just think, again, as I spoke about it in the beginning of this video, the difference between a skeptic and somebody who is resistant. A skeptic just hasn't had an experience. So when he started coming to my live audience readings and he would see the changes that happened and the information that came forward and what was transpiring and what was going on, he became a believer. And it wasn't that he wasn't a believer, he just didn't have an experience, but he understands firsthand by watching me so many times give readings, what happens. And honestly, if I'm ever down on myself at all, because I can put a lot of pressure on myself because I always just want to show up my best. And that puts pressure on myself too. So sometimes I'll get down on myself a little bit and he'll just be right there and he'll just like, are you kidding me? And then he'll just fix me right up if that should ever happen. So he's very supportive, with me. And yeah, so I'm really lucky. And my kids too, yeah, all of them. So I'm really lucky. So that answers that question. Any other questions before we chime out? Kisses from Heaven is Saturday night. I just want to remind you guys, for all of you guys that are coming, please know that I am going to send out all the Zoom links tomorrow morning. I opened up the Kisses from Heaven longer, so it was initially kind of sold out in my mind of what I wanted, but I felt a need to just allow more in for some reason. I don't know why. I'm trusting it. So I'm cutting off tickets in the morning. Okay, we're going to have a very full room. It's going to be wonderful. It's going to be high vibes, and it's going to be exciting. I'm really having a good feeling for Saturday's session. And so Kisses from Heaven. So please know if you wanted to get a last minute ticket tonight, is going to be it to do it, or early in the morning, but everyone's going to get their Zoom links tomorrow. So please look in your junk folder and your spam folder if it doesn't show up in your inbox. I am sending them out tomorrow morning. Okay, wonderful. I'm really excited for it too. I'm really getting excited. I feel it's going to be a really good vibe, and please bring your good high vibe too if you guys are coming. Let's see. Kathy Stevens says, I asked for a conversation at the table with my dad, and you helped make that happen. Thank you. You're welcome, Kat. Thank you, Kathy. Thank you for saying so. I'm happy to do that. And I always say, oftentimes in these readings, it's like they come in and they just pull up a chair at the kitchen table. And that's oftentimes what they do. They bring me to a kitchen table and they pull up a chair, and that's how they visit with you. And that's what they show me. And so know when you do a reading with me that they come in and they just sit at the table and they just want to, have time with you, and always show up for a reading, open and willing to just allow them to express what they want to express. And it often always is what you needed. And just show up at the table with them, just show with an open heart and come place a chair at the table. And that's what they do. They come and they place a chair at the table. I say that to so many of my clients, and it's really true. So thank you, Kathy. Great info. Thanks. Good night. Good night, Teresa. Hey, Michelle. Okay, wonderful. Okay, guys, perfect. So you guys are all good, good, good. Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, good. You guys are awesome. Look at all this. Look at all this love. Love this. You're welcome. Good, Tracy. Hey, guys. Okay, perfect. So, all right, guys, I'm going to chime out. Please Thank you so much for joining in again and being here on a Thursday night and hanging out with me. I love it. You know, I love it. You know, I love to hang out with you guys. You know, I love it so much. I really look forward to our chats and our time. And I thank you all for the comments with the questions that you guys asked for tonight. If you guys are interested in wanting to do a small group reading, they're super fun. And I have just been having a ball doing them. It feels so love it. So I love that if you guys ever want to get a group together of 8 people to have a lovely group. I'm happy to come to your home if you're local enough or on Zoom. It's a great time. And for those of you coming Saturday night, can't wait to see you. Can't wait to meet you. Can't wait to meet your loved ones. So excited. Really looking forward to it. And thank you for all of you who have allowed me to give you readings. Thank you for sharing your loved ones with me. Thank you so much for sharing Thursday nights with me. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much. And until next time, you guys be amazing, stay amazing, and I'll see you guys next Thursday live again. Okay. I don't know what we're going to talk about, but we'll talk about something. Okay. And we'll see you next Thursday. And until then, you guys be amazing and love you. Bye.